Well, I haven't been having the best success this morning. Well, could be worse, I suppose. It's rather cold and the wind is starting to get up a bit now. I wanted to give this guy another go. I haven't tried him for a while. This is the Horizon UMX Cessna, on which I've got a set of floats of the the whatever they called them, the UMX Carbon Cub floats. Not the greatest fit. I mean, they say they're supposed to work with him, but they tend to sit a bit far forward on him, so when you try and fly him off water, his back end will sit in the water, which is not good. All in all, this is not my favorite of the UMX planes. When you compare him to things like the J3 Cub, the UMX J3 Cub, the UMX Timber, the UMX Waco, they're all beautiful planes, terrific planes, great control, great flying. And I fly the UMX J3 Cub with these same floats on all the time. Not this same set, but a set of exactly the same floats. This guy, not so much. Nice looking plane,
Throttle cut off.
but not such a nice flyer. Right, left, everybody's doing what he's supposed to do. But, he flies, but he doesn't fly really well like those other planes, the UMX J3 Cub, which I absolutely love, which has AS3X but no safe and just flies terrific even with the floats on. The Waco, which has, you can't put floats on, that's the biplane, that has terrific control, great plane for, I'm not much of an aerobatic pilot, but trying a bit of aerobatic learning. The Waco's terrific plane because it has such precise control. And the UMX Timber is just so flexible, can fly in tons of wind, short takeoff and landing, flies excellently off the water again with the same set of floats, the UMX Timber. Flown him off the water a few times, don't get a lot of chance to fly off water because we don't have a water flying site with my own. Anyway, this guy, I don't know, I'm just not so fond of him. He's in safe mode here. Flies pretty okay in safe mode. Let's take him out of it though. Oh, wrong key. I often use that switch for safe mode. Where there's 3 modes, I use that switch, but this is only a 2 mode. Either safe is on or off.
AS3X mode.
It's not one of the ones that has like sort of beginner, intermediate, and it's not horrible, but it's just not very nice. And it wasn't that nice even without the floats. It's not just the floats that are making it. He's got power, but he's just, I don't know, he just doesn't feel, I don't know. I just don't feel I've got the real positive control of this guy that I have with those other UMX planes, the J3 Cub, the Timber, and the Waco. This guy you can sort of fly, but he always seems to be wanting to think about doing something you're not asking him to. He's not a particularly pleasant plane to fly. He rolls, he's got some power, he does roll, he does turn. I had some difficulties with him because when I changed him over to the floats, it's a tricycle undercarriage, so you have to take the front wheel off pretty much when you change him over to the floats, and I had some problems that a part I didn't realize a part had come loose and was rattling around inside, and that was causing me some of my control problems with him. That there was some sort of, I forget exactly what it was. See again though.
Safe mode.
I just turned him into safe mode because he didn't seem to want to obey me and turn around there, and that's pretty typical of this plane. Sometimes he just seems not to obey you when he's not in safe mode. You give him a command and he just seems to rabbit on. I was trying to turn him round in the field there and bring him back towards me, and he just didn't seem to want to come. So I put him back into safe mode. And once you put him into safe mode, he's very docile. He does what you say. Take safe mode off again. But you'd expect him to fly better in non-safe mode, in the sense you'd expect him to be more responsive to commands. But that does not seem to be the case with this particular plane. As I say, he tends to decide to rabbit off and do things can't get him to he doesn't seem to like to turn to the left for some reason in non-safe mode. I don't know. Ah, the heck with it.
Safe mode.
So I'm sorry, I don't like this plane very much. I don't hate it, but it doesn't get flown as much as it might, because pretty though it is, it really does not fly terribly well to my way of feeling in non-safe mode. It and this is I'm still feeling this now. Yes, it's in safe mode it's docile and well behaved, although even in safe mode it's not the greatest performer off water, because it just doesn't sit well on those floats. Its center of gravity is too far back on the floats. So its tail it tends to get in the water, and it's extremely difficult to direct it where you want when it's on water. And you want to get its nose upwind, but it's very hard to do. So it's not a great performer off water. I wouldn't really recommend. I left the floats on just because with the tricycle undercarriage it wouldn't land and take off on the grass anyway. So I figured it gave me a better percentage of it landing and taking off on the grass. I do it with the UMX J3 Cub as well. I leave the floats on permanently because he wouldn't work off the grass with his little wheels. And he's fine. The UMX J3 Cub is absolutely fine off the grass with floats, but the Timber I don't leave. The Timber is absolutely fine off water, but I don't leave the floats on all the time because the Timber has big wheels, so you don't need to. The Timber will the Timber will fly off the grass. Whoops, that wasn't the greatest of landings, but he's down anyway. Bit of a crosswind there. The Timber will fly. The Timber has those big, for the size of plane, he is sort of tundra wheels. So he actually flies fine off the grass with the wheels. So I don't leave the floats on him. I leave the floats on the UMX J3 Cub and on this, because neither of them would fly or land on the grass, take off or land on the grass with their wheels. So
Throttle cut off.
here's a little foam prop spinner, and that weighs nothing, so it's not really throwing the weight off. It's been bashed in there. That's because of, I think that happened mainly, and the floats have bashed in because I tried to take him off the water and I couldn't get his nose to go upwind. Took him off a bit crosswind on the water and the wind flipped him and he hit the bank. That was the last time I tried to fly him off water, I think. Pretty plane. It's a very pretty plane, but you can't really tell there, but you can see he's sort of sitting back on the floats, and in actual water he goes all the way down, so especially if there's a bit of wind, so his tail there, the back, is actually touching the water, and then it's almost impossible to steer him. Ah well, so a very pretty plane, but not one that I greatly enjoy flying, to be perfectly honest. The UMX Cessna 182. Very nice looking scale plane. If I had a smoother runway, I'd fly him off the tricycle undercarriage, which would look nicer, but I'd only have to take him off the table and he would flip every time I landed him here if I had him on the undercarriage.